you know, like talking to Jason today, I think it was super awesome how, I mean, he even pointed out, and it's so funny how like, even when we're doing our research and we're looking at the videos and stuff, how they're giving advice for people who, it seems like, who have been doing this. And it's like, hey, how do I grow it? How do I make it bigger? Like, how do I make it more legit? It's like, we're fortunate enough to be in a position where we have Hesh who's supporting us, and like Liberty in itself, to where like we're doing that stuff off the rip. The videos, the clips, the mini, what do they call it? Mini content.
Micro
content.
Micro clips.
Micro clips. Yeah. Micro content clips. Yeah. I love it. But I mean, like kudos to that, man. How, like just their support with it when it's really not even like a Liberty associated thing, you know, and he's just giving us the full reign on it. Because like Jason said, I mean, dude, it would take, we could go do it. Like you could easily go do it, just buy like a set.
But that monetary price, I mean, time commitment, money commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it would be a little bit more difficult, but dude, very blessed. Very blessed.
What do you think, like what gets you most jazzed about it? Like, is it ECP itself? Is it just talking itself? Or like what's your energy behind it?
Dude, it's dude, when I was a kid, I knew that, I mean, like I wanted to at one point like follow my dad into being like, you know, maybe a history, because I love history. History is
that's
just
what he
like,
did. He taught history.
Yeah, he taught history. And it's kind of the, you know, I wanted to be a high school wrestling coach and be like a teacher, a high school, you know, history teacher. But at the same time, that was one path I was definitely thinking of. But on the other side, I was like, dude, me and my buddies, like we would think about just like businesses to run. Like I remember one time my buddy Jared and I, we were thinking, because we were really into airsoft and paintball.
Yeah.
Loved it. Still love it. I mean, I wish I could do it, you know, time commitment again. But, dude, we would think about like, dude, what if we bought just like a couple acres when we're older, just saved our money, bought a couple acres and just opened up like a paintball course for people. We could charge this. We'll bring the guns here. We'll have all the equipment. You pay a premium. You know what I mean? And, you know, I remember that as early as like freshman year of high school, we were thinking that. And what gets me jazzed up about this is, dude, you're my business partner. We're running a business. Though we haven't sank, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars into it, again, there's an opportunity cost. We're taking our time away from, you know, internet lead business, which is a big part of our business at this point, and we're sinking it into this, ECP.
100%.
So I think what gets me jazzed up is, dude, we get to run a business, and it's fun. Like, it's just like, dude, we get to think about revenue, you know, generating profit, generating awareness.
Right.
And that stuff is just, like I said, even when I was a freshman in high school thinking about building a business, I mean, obviously I didn't envision it like this, but along the same lines, you know?
Yeah.
What about you?
I like your response, by the way. And I think too, like before I go into that for myself, I think, like we've said before, all we're going to do is just apply what we've done for mortgages. I mean, again, bro, like you started in August of 18. I started in January of 19. Through the calendar year of 19, we both grossed relatively the same. Last year was relatively the same. I think you were like 40 or so above me. You were like, what, 250 last year?
240.
240. Okay, I was 210. And then, so I was 110, 210, and then we'll both be over 300.
I'll be close to be like 290.
Really?
I mean, if I have a big
You'll
November. It depends.
Okay.
I'm conservative, 290.
Okay. So, but either way. Okay.
290 is not a small number.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, again, it's like, that's why, you know, almost when we were having that conversation earlier, I'm like, dude, it's almost, I'm so convicted, because at the end of the day, it's, if you apply the same energy at anything, you're going to get a result. Now, could all else fail? Yeah, but like, okay, look at the energy that you're putting into something. It's just a natural law of how things work. What you put into something is you will get an equal or greater return. And go back to your question though, I think for me, what it is, there's just like been something within me. Anytime I've learned something when I was younger that I'm super passionate about, like the first big thing I felt like I learned about was the law of attraction. At my folks' house, when my parents were still together years ago, my dad had this big office in there. And when he was doing very well in business, like he used to collect a ton of books, tons and tons of books. I mean, not just when he was doing well in business, but he just always collected books and he read out whatever, this and that. Well, I would go into his office, which had like a library too. It had these massive shelves behind his desk.
That's awesome. I can envision it.
Pick out books. I mean, it was like hardwood. I'm gonna have to show you like a picture of it when we're done here. And there was like, I wasn't that tall, so I would look at the books that were like right here, and there was a lot on like law of attraction, The Secret, you know, stuff like that. And I got into that when I was in like 8th grade. I just got super jazzed on like the law of attraction, positivity, whatever, this and that. And anytime I got into something, I always wanted to go and relay it. I wanted to go to relay it to others. I wanted to teach it. So I think for me, speaking is something. Fortunately, I think I'm just natural. You know, we talked about the other day. Like I kind of relate with Mo in the sense of like I'm an antisocial extrovert. Mm-hmm. Like you would never see me as being an antisocial person from just doing this or like speaking in front of people like at Liberty and this and that, doing the Elevate stuff or training. But I don't know why. When I get a passion about speaking about something, I could do it to anybody. And I think that's what it is for me is Elevate in itself. I love the message. Mm-hmm. I love that. And like what we're doing, like getting people on in that regard. But I also think too, you know, something we spoke about when we had Hesh on is for me, my success has always just been mimicking. Of course you have to adapt things to your own way. But at the end of the day, for me, I feel like I've just picked and choose people over my lifetime that I still look back. I mean, I can go back to my 8th grade football coach, my 7th and 8th grade football coach who taught me invaluable lessons I'm still implementing in my life. I just attribute like part of my success to him because he taught me a certain thing. Mm-hmm. Though it may not have been everything, like there's things I could take from my father. There's things I could take from my mother. There's things I could take from a good friend I had who was a hard worker. There's things I could take from you, from Jason, from Hesh. You know, I don't believe in having a one-size-fits-all kind of mentor where everything goes to, because I think every person is good at, you know, different things. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't go to Joe Schmo for relationship advice, but I might go to him for culinary advice if I want to learn how to cook an awesome meal. You know, so you pull your advice from different things. But I just feel like for this podcast, for me, it's just a matter of you have the Grant Cardones, you have the Ed Miletts, you have the Zig Ziglars, you have all these people who have like done it, who are later in their years, the Jim Rohns, right? This and that. Why not have people who are on the journey? Like, okay, no, we haven't built the businesses. We haven't made the $1 million a year yet. But why not have somebody where it's like, hey, come along with us. We're implementing this stuff in our life. Come on the journey.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
You can relate
it's like the journey of it.
It's funny. Did you ever end up reading Machiavelli's The Prince?
By who? Oh, no. I know you told me about that. No, I haven't.
So it's funny, like, what you're talking about is, I mean, a lot of what you're talking about is present day people who are alive and, you know, mimicking and everything. Yeah. In The Prince, he talks about the people that you can actually, well, just for our terminology, people that you can mimic have already gone through this. Like, our struggles, you have history that spans, you know, from recorded history, at least, you know, 4,000 years, we'll say, of recorded history. And people throughout history have gone through our struggles in a different, obviously, like, you know, context, yeah, for sure.
It's just, like, it's nothing new.
But you look at, like, Alexander the Great.
Okay.
He was a man. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a demigod. He's not a robot. You know what I mean? He was just flesh and blood. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the things that he was able to do to be able to conquer half of the known world at the time, like, if he can do that, I can make $1 million. Mm-hmm. And his journey was a lot more difficult than mine. Yeah. And I'm not looking to conquer the world. I'm just looking for, you know, a certain goal. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. So a lot of, you turn to history and see, like, dude, there are a lot of people in history that you could look to and just read about, and like, wow, like that, you know, Otto von Bismarck, right? You could look at his story and his journey and be like, wow, how does this apply to me now? You know?
Right. There's something to take from it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, for us as well, having all the people that we're going to have on, I don't care what position they're in, even if they are our age, you know, we're going to have Zach Buckeye on, who's 28 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's 28 years old, but he's killing it, right? There's something to take from that. But even like the older folk, again, it's just like a matter of, you know, I want to be able to not have to be at Hesh's age or, you know, Jill's age or like our father's type age where they say, you know, I didn't have somebody when I was your age. I didn't have my father or a mentor, somebody in business who was telling me, you know, go out and do this, invest in this, like do this for your business, like really focus in on these years. How many times have you heard it said, like, you'll be talking to an older person, you know, at a tailgate or a party and they're like, you're how old? Yeah. You're like 26. They're like, dude, slow down. I was getting hammered going out every Friday and Saturday night, not knowing what the hell my name was on Sunday when I was 26. Like, I didn't really start doing shit till I was 32. Yeah. It's just being like ahead of the game. Again, I want to be able to be at 45 and say, damn, dude, 20 years ago, like if I can go back 20 years in time, I would literally sit across from myself and be like, dude, thank you.
I've heard that before. I've heard, dude, even family members tell me, like, slow down and stuff, and friends be like, dude, you're overworking yourself and everything. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not. like I'm on a great pace right now, and I could go faster if I want to. If I really wanted to, I could go faster. But again, we talk about energy commitments. I have energy that I can spend here, here, and here. Do I want to get home at 6 o'clock and get back on the phone? No. I want to be able to be with my fiance and my dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But dude, I don't know. When people tell me to oh, dude, you're only 26, slow down, blah blah blah. Dude, no.
Yeah.
Dude, screw up. Dude, I go as fast as I want.
100%. Yeah. How do you, because I think that's been the big thing for me lately is realizing, we've had all these people come in, and I feel like literally the universe provides its lessons to me, on perfect timing, without failure, until I've become, at least since I've become conscious of it, right? That it's working for me.
Dude, yeah.
I kind of went through a little 2-week rut where I was in this hole of damn, I don't, I feel like I've accomplished this so soon. It's not that I didn't think I could do it, but even in high school, I knew if I was just given the vehicle that I had the charisma and the attitude and the work ethic and this and that, and just the mindset and belief that I could literally accomplish what I wanted to.
Yeah.
I just needed that vehicle. And then having gotten into it, I guess I didn't realize how quick it would come and I knew money wouldn't drive happiness. I knew that. But also at the same time, I also felt like it would be a little bit more freeing, making 6 figures. And now we're getting into the middle of the 6 figures, close to $500,000, where it's it's just bills saved up and it's money saved up. To me, that's all it is. And you can make plays with it and save it. But at the end of the day, it's just playing with the money. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I got in this little rut where it was okay, well, what's next? What's the driving force behind this? Again, it was more so being focused on the goal and the number versus the journey of it. And then all of a sudden, these people start coming in, Mo, Paul Gabriel,
mm-hmm.
and then there was somebody else. Even when I talk with Marcus Ogden, who coaches me, who I speak to literally weekly, every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m.
Yep.
He even his mindset behind it of just dude, trusting in the process and in the journey, and it's a slowdown in the sense of don't feel like you have to get there so quick, and just find the balance for yourself. Again, it's a process for you, and I think that's one thing I was really struggling with, and it's all of a sudden all these the universe sent all these signals to me through people of giving me these lessons about, dude, find it for yourself. What it is, what do you want out of life? What are you expecting out of it? And I think that's what I'm really focusing on right now. Does it, when I hear you say oh, I want to make $1 million, does that drive my ambitious part of me and my competitive side? It's well, yeah, 100%, because to me, I'm well, fuck, if Chris is doing it,
mm-hmm.
I have to do it. I want to do it. That's just my competitive nature. It's not a jealousy thing in any sense. It's more or less just a very competitive thing, but it's also coming to grips with the fact that, dude, it'll get there. I'll get there. You're 26. Slow down in that regard to feel you don't have to get there right now, and slow and steady, build a solid foundation around you, pay off the debt, build the relationships, build a solid foundation, because at that point in time, when then it does finally break free and the floodgates open up, you have that solid foundation to stand on. But it's not rushing it. It's putting out the goal and then just kind of having the law of detachment, where it's when that time comes, it'll come. And then steady working on the journey and letting kind of, life's journey shape you along the path to that goal.
Yeah, dude. I think at the end of the day, your journey is going to be tremendously different than my journey.
Mm-hmm.
So to even compare peer to peer is illogical.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't I like what Hesh says a lot. You only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because their journey is way different than yours. How you get from point A to point B and how they get from point A to point B mm-hmm. is just way different.
Way different.
There's just no point. There's no point in doing it. As long as you're happy and you're doing the right things, dude, just because you see somebody make a $50,000 check and you made maybe a $10,000 check, the amount of money that the other person made doesn't mean anything. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's
all this. Have you gotten the Psychology of Money yet, or started listening to it?
I haven't.
Did you have to
listen? I gotta finish Grant Cardone's 10X still.
Okay, so
I will though. I'll probably get.
They
to
brought
it.
that up the other day when Mo was here.
Yeah,
listen to this. Okay, in this book, this is what it says. So the Psychology of Money, why I really like it, and what it's opening me up to is, I used to think how doesn't everybody dude, just pay off your debt, or save the money? Why are you going out and spending this and that? Everybody's thought process towards money is based on their come up in life and
mm-hmm.
their thought and their psychology towards money. And this crazy stat in here said in the book, 40% of Americans cannot come up with $400 in an emergency. Okay. 40% of Americans cannot come up with $400 in an emergency.
Jeez, dude, that's crazy. Crazy.
That's crazy. Okay, think about that, dude. That's new tires. That's 4 new tires. That's brakes.
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, what happens if you have an accident?
Oh my God. Right.
You're done.
That is unbelievable. But then listen to this. The lowest income households in the U.S. on average spend $412 on lottery tickets per year. So you go to these people and you say, okay, in an emergency, you need $400.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't come up with it. But you'll willingly spend $412 on lottery tickets per year. And again, they go back to like, it's the psychology of those people coming up to the point where they almost lost hope, so much so that they'll put themselves on the line to risk it all in a 1 in 1 millionth chance or whatever the freaking number is to try and win the lottery
year. Yeah.
Rather than setting that money aside and letting it accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Again, and it goes back to like the delayed gratification thing. A lot of people just lack that. But again, it's a psychological thing of, you know, we talked a little bit the other day. We got pretty personal. That was cool, dude. I didn't know that stuff about you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. And Chris, it literally made me go home. And when I was like showering, dude, just like, that's where I do like a lot of things. I just sit there and just relax and kind of let like everything
meditations,
just unwind.
bro.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, damn, dude. You and I were going through the same thing at the same part of life back in 2008. Like that was a big time for our families.
Very, very.
And it was shaping us. The universe was shaping us. And look how we got brought together, dude.
It is kind of cool.
That gives me goosebumps.
It's so
cool.
It does.
It's so cool. And it's like, that shaped us, our psychology towards money.
Mm-hmm.
That shaped us, what we went through in those times with our families and what we witnessed. Though it wasn't our bank accounts that were strapped. It was seeing what our families went through and being a part of that.
Definitely similar. Like how similar our stories were when you look at it. It is kind of crazy. It is like, I wonder if the universe had, I mean, it had to have. The universe had to just, you know, like, hey, listen, we got this guy and we got this guy. They're going to go to their journeys and then they're just going to fucking find each other, Liberty Home Mortgage, and they're going to fucking build an awesome podcast. Dude, and they're going to change the world.
I'm telling you.
You know what I mean?
The universe is perfect, dude. I mean,
dude,
it brings
really
the sun up every morning and down every night, you know, and it brings rain perfectly. I know sometimes people could bitch about the weather, but when you like realize, like I watch a lot of those nature shows when they come out.
Oh, I do.
You know, and I get mesmerized by them because I realize like how perfect the system is. And when you realize that that's just everything, I do believe that. I believe it's divine intervention that we were 100% showed up at the same place in the exact same time.
Back to the instant gratification that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. How many bank statements do you go through and you just see these fucking people, McDonald's, Wendy's, you know, Cedar Point, then they're going to Netflix. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to finance a house here, and a third of your income, of your net income, not even your gross income, of your net income is going toward things that you could literally minimize by going to the grocery store. If you cook a meal, I'm not saying like you can't ever go out to eat or have a good time. I'm not saying you can't go to the club if that's something you like doing. Like you're entitled to spend your money however you want.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, if you're complaining about not having money, like you have no title to that.
No, 100%.
If you can literally save $100 a week by just buying groceries and learning how to cook and learning that skill set, do it. Like there's nothing holding you back. Like you're just telling yourself, oh, you know what, I'm lazy. I'm just gonna go ahead and just buy McDonald's 5 days out of the week. You know.
I used to talk with Max a lot about this when Max was here and when Max was my original manager, and he used to say, like, dude, I'm done with the books. I've read all the books. I know them all. My biggest thing is implementation. And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up. And I question, like, what is the big, because I even know on some days where I know I should be doing something, yet I end up doing the thing that I know I shouldn't be doing. And it's like, damn it, why didn't I just take the initiative to do what it is I know I should be doing? That's going to move me towards my thing. And it's like, what is that mental barrier that's in front of us that kind of prevents us from really taking the leap to actually do it? Like, making the person go to the grocery store rather than buying McDonald's and Wendy's.
Yeah, dude. Grant Cardone talks about it in 10X. Just because I'm reading it, I'm going to reference it. But he talks about massive action, a massive amount of action. And actually, Mark Manson talks about it in, what is it? I don't give a fuck or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's something with the word fuck. Anyway.
The art of giving.
The art of not giving a fuck. Yeah. So when he talks about the art of not giving a fuck, he talks about this. He talks about a story when he's trying to figure out a math problem, and I think it was like maybe 11th grade math teacher or something, And he goes, here's the problem you have to solve for X. And the math teacher says, listen, you're not going to solve it. And there's like a group of them. There's like 3 of them. He's like, they're just staring at their paper. They're just staring there like, oh, how do we even get started? Blah, blah, blah. And the math teacher says, listen, just do it. Just take action. Start writing things down. Like, even if it doesn't make sense, because your mind will naturally problem solve. It's not going to be able to do anything if you just stare at it and just try and think through it. And that's, I understood that at the time, but then Grant Cardone cemented it for me. I mean, he talks about taking massive amounts of action, 10x, right? And again, love him, hate him, whatever. I do believe that at the end of the day, what you were saying, I know I should be going to the grocery store, but I'm just going to take the easy way out. Like, just going to go spend the $10, $20 for dinner right now.
Yeah.
Just take like, you just have to do it. Like, just take the action. Just take massive amounts of action. And take the initiative to do it. Like, have you ever heard of Grant Cardone's, like, his come up? Like, how he got famous?
I mean, I'm sure you can enlighten me on some things, but I know essentially, like, he grew up, he was just with his mother, right? And they were like living out of like a bathroom of a house. She had like massive drug issues, and I know he had drug issues and alcoholism and stuff for a while.
His dad died at the age of 10. His older brother died at the age, I think, 20. He's got a twin brother he lived with, but I think they moved out. They went their separate ways. But what I'm getting to is he's already established at this point, and he knows, and I think he's with his wife at this point, Elena. But he starts talking about, listen, I need omnipresence. Omnipresence, like, in a biblical sense, like God is everywhere. So he's trying to take the same thing. Like, listen, I'm just trying to be everywhere. I want to walk down the street and somebody says, hey, I know you. Like, you're Grant Cardone. Like, yes, I am. Because if you have that type of ability over somebody where they just know you out of nowhere, that's an opportunity. It's opportunity everywhere. So he was like, I just want omnipresence to be able to be known by everyone. So he takes massive amounts of action saying, I want to start a TV show. So the first thing he does is he just starts cold calling people, like, with, secretaries, no name, no whatever, and just starts cold calling people, like, all these TV production studios, whatever. Well, by coincidence, he was like at a sales, he was at something in Las Vegas where like this film studio came and they were just filming. He's like, hey, can you just film me like doing like a sales thing? Like, I'm just going to do like a live sales train. Can you just film me and I'll pay you? So he did it. He paid him. They gave him the film and then he sent it to this guy in New York to go ahead and like start a show for him. So he ended up just like, he's like, yeah, we'll give you a call back when our president can get to you. He's like, no, what's his number? So he literally, like, that day, because they were going to call him back later, like, no, I'm going to call him right now. Again, it just goes back to taking the initiative and stuff like that. Just realizing, like, taking those massive amounts of action, not waiting, not thinking about it, just doing it. Just going ahead, just doing it.
And I think that gets easier over time, right? Like, for example, if you take the simple thing of just getting up in the morning, it's very easy to hit snooze, and it's oftentimes, it's sometimes something that we even do, right? But at the end of the day, it's like that alarm goes off at 5, okay? Just roll out of bed. Don't even think about it. You can't constantly think about it. The second you allow yourself to think about it, that's when the thoughts start to come in of like, oh, but it's cold out.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's raining. I got to get in the truck and go to the gym.
Or I'm comfy.
Right. Versus if you literally just left foot out or whatever side of the bed you're on, right foot on the ground, walk into the bathroom, whatever you got to do the second you get up, go to the coffee pot, like, just get up and get going, pack the gym bag the night before. Set yourself up for the success in that manner where you don't leave the opportunity open for yourself to say, oh, well, I got to get dressed and I'm a couple minutes behind. I got to get to work. And you know what I'm saying? Like, set yourself up. And that's the thing, too, is I think a lot of people get stuck in their own ways and in the thought of like, yeah, but I'm here and that's so far away from there. Not realizing the fact that the first step is the step in the direction towards that thing. Just get going there. And then, like you said, once you have momentum going, it's super easy. Yeah. Like, before I even started this job, when I first came in, I remember waking up so I started on January, I want to say it was the 7th, and it was a Monday. Or no, it was like January, whatever it was, of 2019. By that Wednesday is when they released me to like go on the phones. I woke up that Wednesday morning like 2 hours or 3 hours before my alarm. Nervous, dude. Sure. Nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get on the phone and talk to people about something I'm not super educated on. I know a little bit, but nervous. And then it's all of a sudden, like, by that Friday, I knew that if I just kept coming in, I would get over that barrier.
You will, yeah.
And then, like, okay, then you start getting, and then by Friday, it's like, oh my God, I'm excited to go in and dial. You know, and then all of a sudden you get a couple months in and you're in a flow, and then you get a year in and then 2 years in, and it's just like, I don't even think about it consciously now. I just know, like, okay, I got to go cold call people. Like, I got to go call people, you know? Yeah. And I think it's that momentum, like you said, that eventually picks up. But that first step is so important. It's so everything. Important. And I think having an accountability partner can help you with that. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's something that's helped me and helped us. Yeah. You know, having each
helps
other.
The fuck out of me.
Even with this.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, damn, I have to make sure I'm keeping up with this podcast thing because I have Chris relying on me too. Oh, and by the way, Hesh has put all this money into it for us. We got to show up. Mm-hmm. You know, I love that little like monkey on the back of my, like on my back, you know, that's like kind of in my ear, like the pressure, like pushing me along. Mm-hmm. Because, dude, I mean, that's a good thing to kind of urge you along. And again, it's not saying like, oh, we got to go make this thing $1 million business. But at the end of the day, if it becomes that, great. But it's just a simple fact of just take the next step. Just take the next step.
Dude, you know how many businesses are made out of hobbies?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like someone is just like, oh, this is my hobby. And then all of a sudden it just blows up.
The lash thing.
Oh, dude, yeah. Dude, unreal, unreal.
Baking companies. I mean, look at Buckeye Brownie.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Just to go back, just because you made me think of it, Marcus Aurelius in Meditations talks about taking the first step out of bed, and he's like, this is what he always said in his journal. He goes, when I wake up, is my purpose as a human, is my duty as a human being to be basically a shell on the bed. Like, was I born to just lay here? Because every minute I lay here, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. My purpose in life is to fulfill my human duty as a citizen. Yeah. Like as a Roman citizen, you know, as an emperor, as this, you know, as a father, as a businessman or whatever. And every minute that I lay here in bed, I'm not fulfilling my purpose.
Takes away from that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I've applied that to myself. Like, dude, damn, alarm went off 4:30. Like, I am so comfortable right now. I do not want to stay in bed, but I know every minute that I stay in bed, I'm not getting closer. That's right. And it's not even reminding myself, oh, I'm not getting closer to $1 million. It's I'm not closer to my first step, because the first step is the biggest thing. You know?
Yeah, 100%. It's and like, dude, don't get me wrong. I could feed into, you know, I could really indulge in my lazy side, and I can have those times where like, and I think you should. Again, like I know you said even too, like on the weekends, dude, it's you sleep in. I sleep in.
You got to let your batteries recharge.
Yeah, 100%. But that Monday through Friday to me has always just been like a war zone. Like, I got to be on it. If I could just give the time in this allotted time, you have that break time for yourself Saturday, Sunday, where you go a little bit lighter. You go hard in its own way, right? You put attention towards different things, prepping for the week on Sunday, grocery shopping, right, this and that. But it's, dude, treat that Monday through Friday like your war zone. Like,
it's
go
a
make
fucking
it happen.
war, dude.
Yeah, go make
it's
it
a
happen.
Fucking war. Like, if you're not fucking prepared to like kick ass Monday through Friday, get the fuck out of this line of work. You know what I mean? I think too many people treat Monday through Friday like Saturday and Sunday, man. In our day and age, like, 100%. I don't know if it's lack of maturity or if it's just social stigma or whatever it may be, but too many people, man, out there our age are just not taking the initiative to get the most out of life. And you could define that however you want. But all I know is if you, again, like what you said, if you're not treating Monday through Friday like it's the last day of your life, like, what are you doing? Yeah. Are you, like, again, alarm goes off at 5 o'clock, you don't get up until 6, and you're doing that. Okay, maybe you have a slip up once in a while. Don't let it happen again. But people too many times make a habit of that, and dude, now you're 2 weeks in and you're waking up at 6 o'clock.
Dude, here's the thing is because I'm also a person where I also, like, I would say I am total the opposite extreme of, for example, like a David Goggins or like a Jocko Willink or even like a Hesh. Like, Hesh is a very robotic person. But I have that regiment to myself. I really do. But I've also over time this year have become, I'm trying to become so much less strict with myself because I feel as though when I put that pressure on myself, I fail. I get into mental ruts where I know, like, I start slipping. So don't get me wrong. I'm all about my habits and my regiment, and I'm a very regimented person. But it's taking like the mental anguish that I put into it of like, I must accomplish this today. I must do this. I have to do this at this specific time, else it's a failure. And taking that off myself to allow myself the opportunity to be able to, one, find enjoyment in the stuff that I'm doing, and two, also not make it like a life or death situation, because at the end of the day, dude, like, I'm with it 100%. You have to have good habits and everything for business, for life in general, to just, I think, you know, reap the benefits of a good life and like your successes. But to me, it's just not a life or death thing. It's just not. It's not the same as having a knife in my chest.
I get that.
It's just not.
For me to have a good day, like let's say like I want every day to be a good day, and obviously there are things I can't control or you know shit hits the fan, whatever. But I know for a fact, just because I know how my body works.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I have to wake up early, I have to work out, and I literally have to be able to get to the point where I work out in the morning to where like I'm like dead tired, you know, like whether it's a blow on my lungs or whether I'm wrestling or something, because it just sets up my day, the rest of the day. Like if I can start my day just going through the fucking shit like before 7 a.m., I know for a fact that 90% of other people in this industry aren't doing that. So it gives me the confidence going into the rest of the day saying, wow, like 90% of my competition isn't doing this. I feel pretty good today.
100%. That morning workout's essential, dude.
It really is.
Essential.
I can't work out at, dude. I can't work out at night.
No,
I literally can't. I can't do
happening.
it. And like I got like some other guys like, you know, the sales floor like, oh, do you just, you know, work out after work? I'm like, dude, like.
But that's an hour that you have to
can't.
re-allot to something when you could just wake up the hour earlier and do it. But it's like, but dude, I want to go home and make another hour of dials. Okay, there's that hour. Dude, I want to go home and cook dinner with my fiance or my girlfriend. Like, you know, or whatever it is. Like, there's that hour right there. It's just,
Again,
you have the specific things that you want to do in a day's time that help you feel like the day was accomplished. We all have those. Some of them are probably very similar to each other.
You got to listen to yourself.
Allocate the time correctly. 100%.
You understand, hey, I'm Dominic DiFranco. I know I need to do X, Y, and Z to feel good. All right. Well, I'm not Dominic DiFranco. I know what I need to do to feel good. And if I don't do it, I'm lying to myself. Like, I know how my body is. Like, I know what my mindset is. And I wish I knew that back in college, dude. I really do. Because I would have been way better at wrestling. Dude, I've had real big upsets. Like, I've beaten national champs, you know, runner-ups and everything. I've done it. But then I lose to the JV guy because I'm in my head when I should have just like understood my body more and understood my mindset more. Now I understand that, and I wish I could have. In
what regard? Like what's the basic? Like what's the main understanding that you're saying?
I understand today that as long as I'm able to hit every checkpoint throughout the day, and I know that like, all right, I can accomplish this, this, and this instead of thinking about the overarching goal, then I'm going to have a good day. And then that compounds. Whereas, like in wrestling, I would have like certain matches where I'm just like feeling really good because I know what I did during that day, but I didn't realize that's what I had to do. It was just, it was almost chaotic. It was like kind of like, I accidentally felt good. You know what I mean? Like I accidentally
almost like a pre-match like routine, like getting up, doing certain things throughout the day.
Exactly. And then but it's like I didn't have the I didn't go into every match confident that I could win.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize like I just had to just wrestle like I wrestled in a freaking, you know, practice match or something because I'd kill it. But it was just too roller coaster for me. You know, if I would have stayed consistent, I would have been a lot better.
Yeah. Before we wrap up here, let me ask you something. As a 26-year-old who's making damn near close to, if not over, I think you'll get over $300,000 this year. What's different from the Chris Doyle that started in August of 2018 and by a year later was on pace to make just over $100,000? What's different now?
Take this job more seriously. Think you just learn things. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten better at every aspect of my life since I graduated college. Not even just in this industry. Like, I've been better in my relationship. I've been better athletically. I've read more books in this year than I have last year or the year before. And overall, it's just, again, that stuff just compounds. Listening to my body, understanding what I'm good at and what I'm not good at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'd say we're on the same path. So my question is, what was your mindset going into this job? Like, how were you that first year compared to now? And what is your mindset going into next year? Or is it the same as it is right now?
I think it's different. I think there's some things that came along with it that will always stay with me. You know, like, for example, like it being about, you know, my family. My sisters are a big motivator for me, my family in general, you know, a serious relationship I have now, like stuff like that. And just like, I think the vision of, you know, one day wanting to be a father and this and that, right? That's always been something that's kind of guided me. Coming into this, I think I had something to prove to myself.
Sure.
Because
chip on your shoulder almost.
Yeah, because it was like, again, just because a lot of the family stuff that I had been through and had, you know, been a part of through what, you know, my parents faced and this and that. I was always somebody that wanted to take on that heat onto my own shoulders and kind of be the savior. So I think that's what drove me initially was, if I do this, then I could save everything. I could fix everything, and I could be the source of that, which was not a thing for like personal gain that I can go out and flaunt, because again, it's a personal thing to me and myself and my family for what it is I do for them or the people around me. But I think it was that to almost prove to myself of like, hey, I've been saying and like speaking out through this frustration of, I want to get out of school. Like, dude, I almost dropped out. Like, I want to drop out so bad and just go work, because I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, if you give me the vehicle, I will make it. I will do something with it.
Found it.
To where, 100%. This is the vehicle, and I'm driving it well and trying to drive it a lot further, right? Now it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I want to find a smarter way to do this. I no longer feel like I'm trying to prove anything to myself. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody else. I no longer feel like, as no matter how much money I make, I'm going to save anybody. It's just not a reality. More times than not, it kind of makes the relationship weird when people find out how much it is you make. So
especially our age.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Plus or minus a year.
That's right. That's right. I think for me now, what it's becoming is, dude, this thing's a game, right? We have a lot of wrestlers down there, and I mean, I wrestled when I was super young. I wasn't good at all, so I never stuck with it. But I'll just say to like football, like, or sports in general. Why is it that like everybody had their sport, and that was something that you tried to get better at and brag on and this and that? Now all of a sudden the sports are done. What about this? Why isn't this a sport? To me, life is just a game. I'm just on a journey, dude. My soul is in this vessel, and I'm just figuring it out. I'm here for a temporary time, and no time is guaranteed. I could croak on the way home today, God willing, right? Who knows? But at the end of the day, for me, I just want to do this thing as best I can. To me, that is what my purpose is. My 7th and 8th grade football coach, Andy Natale, God bless him, an absolutely powerful man on this earth who has taught a lot of people a lot of great stuff, and certainly me, and has helped me tremendously in life, used to say, and you don't have to be religious, but to me this just speaks truth in anything, the greatest prayer there is to God is to use what you have been given and blessed with to the best of your ability. And that's all. That's just what I believe. There's no greater prayer than that, to utilize everything that you have in front of you, buying all the leads, giving us a computer, giving us this, use it to the best of our ability. There's no better, I won't even say prayer for the people who aren't into that, but for me it is. There's no better prayer to the universe. There's no better repayment to what was given to you than to give your best in that scenario. So for me, it's no longer about anything proving. It isn't monetary, Chris. I got to be honest. I'm getting so far detached from the money to the point where it's not even driving me that much more. I just want to build. I want to be something that can, not only am I providing for myself and my family, but also have something that's providing to other people. Like, think about the opportunity to employ somebody and to pay them something they haven't been paid before. You know?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a powerful thing.
It is.
So for me, that's what it is. Is just, I don't care if I'm at Liberty Home Mortgage for my last day today, and I get fired tomorrow. At the end of the day, wherever I show up, for me, it's just doing the best that I can with what it is I was given. And I think my best varies from day to day, depending on certain circumstances. But that's what it is for me. That's my driver now, is just learning, okay, well, I'm at this. Okay, like, not necessarily, okay, I made $300,000 or over it. The next thing is 400 to 500. It's not that. It's, okay, well, I'm doing this in business. How can I add something? Okay, well, I'm doing all the internet leads. I want to self-generate. Okay, well, naturally, when you self-generate, your income's going to increase. So it's more or less focusing less on the actual producing more income and the things that allow you to produce that more income, for me, is what I'm really focusing on now. And I also think, too, just from 19 to 21 now, my confidence has just increased. My confidence in the sense of I know I can just do it.
Like your ability.
I've proven it to myself. I've proven it to myself, and I know I can keep going, which is something I knew prior to doing it and like making six figures and
Didn't
breaking that.
believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like, holy shit! Like, okay, dude, this thing's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that's it for me. That's a driver.